It's probably been lingering in your mind for some time now. You've been sitting in your room for a while, maybe since after COVID. Maybe it's because of how life changed after school or university. But you might, like me, have spent the past few months or even years in your room. And at first, you don't really realize this happening. And then at some point, you start like doubting, questioning if it's the right thing, being at home all the time, not socializing. You might even start worrying about your health or your mental health, but by then it's usually too late. You've gotten so used to being in your room that going out or socializing almost feels unnatural, maybe. You'd basically have to step out of your comfort zone, risk being awkward and socially slow because of how long you've been isolated, and maybe, just maybe, get that human connection you've been craving. But when it doesn't happen the way you imagined, things can get dark. And that's been my experience these past few weeks. It all started with what seemed like a harmless off time from my last semester. I applied for a break for the spring semester so I could focus more on my work, but with some miscalculation, my next semester fell into summer, which was optional, meaning I suddenly had 6 months all to myself. At the time, I was so focused on getting back on track and handling unfinished businesses that I didn't really think about it much. But then it started happening slowly, the realization came gradually. It got lonely, my mind stopped working the same way. Looking back now, I didn't even do much in that time, didn't save any money, didn't make any real progress. I just consumed and bought stuff, which I think happens to a lot of people when they take time off to focus. But that wasn't even the worst part. Around the middle of the second month, the loneliness started creeping in. I began I began craving human connection. But since I'm a very introverted, solitary person, I didn't pay much attention to it. I knew from the past experiences it'd be just a few seconds of small talk before I remember, yeah, this is why I don't like socializing. So, I avoided all sorts of connections because I hated kind of small talk or any kind of connections or interactions. So I brushed it off. But now that university has started again, I'm realizing what a mistake that was. Because now talking feels really hard, eye contact feels hard, body language feels wrong. Like if I'm in a conversation, something's always feels off. My tone, my movements, my rhythm. It's like I forgot how to be human, in short, basically. I stutter, act robotic sometimes, talk too fast, or fidget like I'm all, like I'm lost. It's just like I feel weird, like to summarize it. And yeah, I know the solution is to go out and socialize again, but it's become such a chore now. It's really, it feels impossible. The worse I get at it, the less I want to do it. And it's just like a vicious cycle, you know? You get worse, you don't want to do it anymore, and you get even more worse, and it just continues. And I always believed alone time is a special, the best time for reflection and improvement, basically. But there's a cost. And you either have to be ready to pay the cost or learn how to fix yourself. And at this point, the only kind of socializing that feels okay is online through Instagram comments, YouTube videos, games, or anything that doesn't involve a real face to face interaction for me. Because, I know that if I don't like it, I can just leave. There is no kind of punishment. No one cares, no awkwardness. And it's a tough spot, especially when it comes to relationships. Friends, honestly, they get boring after a while. I don't even crave friendships anymore. Maybe because I've got a brother I'm very close to. But a partner, that's different. The longer the loneliness goes on, the stronger that desire becomes. And it's brutal, not gonna lie. Because while that craving grows, your social skills decay every day. You want connection more than ever, but feel less and less capable of having one because it's hard, socializing becomes hard. And social media isn't helping as well. It's completely wrecked my image of what relationships even are. I used to have a very simple, healthy picture of relationships. Two people meet, they vibe, they like each other, spend time together, fall in love, get married, have kids, live, happily ever after. And that used to feel very normal to me, and it was just like how relationships look like. But now it just feels very alien. Everything's turned into some weird market, like women objectified, men categorized, like both treated like products you can rate, rank, or scroll through. So it doesn't feel like a natural connection anymore. And it's insane. And it's making me insane as well. And I'm not sure if my brain can even go back to when things felt genuine and sane back in the day. And I'm not sure if things were that way in the past, or if I was a child and those things were happening at the time. That's one thing that maybe millennials know better. But yeah, especially like with social media and things like that it feels very weird now. And it's only going to get worse in my opinion, with AI, voice video generations, 3D models like popping up in every like social media app, instead of like real human faces. And yeah, I think like things are going to spiral out of control faster than anybody's ready for. And it's just, I don't want to sound too negative, but it doesn't look good. Yeah, and I had to get that off my chest. If you had any similar experiences or thoughts, drop them in the comments. I'm really glad to hear or read them. And I want to see how many of us are dealing with this and maybe find some kind of solution before it's too late. And until the next video, stay sane.